Let's talk a little bit about bonds and their place in an investment portfolio. Now, historically, bonds have a lower return than stocks. So if we look back through history, we look at Treasury Bills, short-term bonds, the rate of return is only about 0.4% above inflation historically. And you can get bonds that pay a little higher interest rate, but then you're getting into risk. And that gets into what I want to talk about regarding bonds. Bonds are there in a portfolio for safety. It's one of the first considerations we take into account when putting together a portfolio. How much in bonds? Now, the shorter time before I need my money back, the more I will hold in bonds because they are generally relatively more stable if I hold the right types of bonds. Now, what are the types of bonds that I don't want to hold? Well, let's talk about high yield bonds. I typically stay away from them because they're high yield, they pay higher interest rates, but they pay higher interest rates because there is greater risk. In a year like 2008, when the stock market went down, the average high yield bond fund went down right with it, 25%. So that's one problem you can deal with which is default risk. The other risk is duration risk, which is if interest rates go up, which can cause stocks to go down, a bond fund can actually go down with those interest rates going up. So let's say if I have a bond fund with a 20 duration, if the interest rates go up 1%, that means they go down 20% or can go down that much, which is a big deal. If bonds are there for safety, we don't want them moving with your stock portfolio. So it's one of the primary considerations when I'm putting together a portfolio and I'm thinking about what's my risk tolerance, but more importantly, what's my risk capacity? How much risk can I take, which is driven by how much income I'm going to take from the portfolio and when and how. So it's a really important consideration. First thing we think about, but make sure you consider risk when it comes to bonds because you could be in trouble if you don't.